There was an accident happened at the outhouse one time. My grandfather died in the outhouse.
I didn't do right, but I was raised right. I was proud to be a serviceman. And I think every man should be proud of himself for serving his country. Just go on. I think you should feel sort of privileged because I've never talked about this to anyone else. It was just something we didn't talk about, you know.
Bobby and I went to school together. He was a year older than I was, and he married his high school sweetheart. And I got married and moved away. And then when my mother passed away in 2002 and I moved back here, we ran into, his wife had passed away, well, she passed away and from MS in 2006, I believe it was. Anyway. And after she had passed away, we ran into each other in the Piggly Wiggly.
Aww.
In the watermelon section of the Piggly Wiggly. And he called and asked me for a date. And I said, yes, I'd love to go. And we just hit it off right in the beginning and just dated ever since. And a year later, we got married.
My sister and I would watch American Bandstand, which is, you probably heard, that was in the 50s, early 60s. And your granddad was younger than we were, and he wanted to watch cartoons. And so my sister and I would take turns sitting on him to keep him from all turning the television channel to cartoons while we were trying to watch American Bandstand. I tell you, my dad, I grew up with him telling my sister and I that he did not believe in dancing. He didn't want us dancing. Well, you know, particularly, like I said, we loved to watch American Bandstand, so we did a lot of that kind of behind his back, I guess. Not going to dances, but, you know, just she and I practicing there. I think it went back to that Baptist belief because Sanford University, believe it or not, which is a Baptist college in Birmingham, they do not sanction dances on their campus. They don't let them hold dances on their campus. And so it you know, goes back to that. Drinking, I was not exposed to it as far as my parents, but I have uncles. I had uncles that actually died from alcoholism and everything, but they were, you know, and I've been around them when they were actually drinking, but they were all nice. They were not bad drunks. They were just drunks, you know. Some of them happy-go-lucky, and you know, but because they were family members and everything, you know, you loved them, just in spite of, you know, what they were. I mean, it was considered wrong, yes, you know.
As a child, what were your responsibilities?
Everything, because I was the oldest.
What all did you have to do?
You don't have time for that, baby. Let's see, as the oldest, I had to chase the kids, and I remember one time in particular, I wanted to play so bad with these girls who lived down the road, and Lynn would not stay where I put her, and I tied her, as you can imagine, an 8-year-old, to the mailbox, and she would sit down and she would scream, but my brother Ronnie, you know, I'd make him go over and see about her, but that's why he hates her so bad, I guess.
Do you have a best memory working at the ballet studio?
There's so many. It was just so many. But he worked those girls hard, and whenever the dances they presented that he had them do, you know. It was the same dance, you have to understand, that he had taught girls in Pennsylvania and Texas and wherever else they called him to come, but it was, they were getting an education, you know, and it was a good education. I mean, I don't want anybody to think that Mrs. Murphy ran the Tap Emporium down on the corner, because she didn't do it. She was very serious about it, and about the ballet. We had some of the prettiest girls that dance. And I don't care how homely a girl is, whenever she gets her hair up, her makeup on, and she goes up on point, she's beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful.
If I found a really, really pretty dress in an expensive shop, well, my mom, she was really a good seamstress. So therefore she would go to the shopping, she would look at it. And I still have the dress to the day that she made me, and it had, it was just like a little blue and white dress. It was sleeveless. It was very, very simple. It had a row of rickrack around the waist, and it had 9 rows of rickrack from the waist down to the hem, all the way around it. And I still have that dress to this day, because Mama put so much love into it.
Like the good old days, some of them really were. Even though we didn't have that much money, we were happy, and we didn't depend on stuff and things to make us happy.
It don't matter if you fail a year, you get up, you keep going, you get that 12-year education behind you, you go on to college, get a degree in a good paying job where you don't have to struggle like we did when we was growing up, and make something out of yourself before you decide to get married and settle down.
Listen to your parents, because they're so much smarter than you are, but you don't realize it now, but they really are, because they've been there. And I think if all children would listen to their parents, and the parents keep them in church, you would see a lot better world.
Yeah. When you make a mistake, try not to do it over again.
Don't sweat it. That's all I can say is just don't sweat it. Just let, you call it letting the rough end drag or whatever, but just don't get bent out of shape by stuff, because if you live long enough, it's going to pass. Just through the natural sequence of things, that'll pass.
This is a good one. What are your 24th of June memories?
Oh my gosh. One of the things that I remember distinctly was my baby brother was born on the 24th of June. And my aunt was here helping out because there was 3 of us kids. And I remember she was not going to let me go to the 24th of June parade. I was 12. She was not going to let me go. So I walked down to the hospital where my mother had just had my brother. And I told my mother that my aunt was not going to let me go, and I wanted to go, and I got to go.
You got your
So I have really great memories of they had big carnivals then, and all my friends would always go to the carnival, and look for our boyfriends to see if our boyfriends were there. And then later on in years, my first husband's dad was really big in the parade, so we would always ride on the back of the truck that he rode on. So great memories of the 24th.
That was a big, big day for us. My mother really, really enjoyed that. She spent the entire day in Florala now my daddy didn't care for it, but Mama didn't drive. But she had her umbrella because she didn't want the sun on her that much, and she had a folding chair, and she had friends that she worked with in the factory that they would meet over there, and I would get to go, and we'd spend the whole day watching the parade and watching everything at the carnival and all. It was a big day. It was something I look forward to.
Oh, Lord, yes, that was a huge holiday. That was as big as Christmas whenever I was a kid. We lived up, like I said, I was raised up there at Blackman and on the river Swamp. And you would make arrangements to go to Florala. So we really enjoyed going up there. Sometimes you'd go up there and sit on the curb for a half a day and never get up and go anywhere. You just, back then you didn't get much. If you had $1, that was a lot of money back then to go to Florala on. I mean, it was just, that was a pocket full of money. You could do a lot of things with $1.
Oh yeah, that was one of the most favorite times of the year, just like it is for everybody today. I think that that's a tradition that has lived for a long, long time. My first thing with that was you knew on Sunday that they were going to come to town. The carnival was going to come to town. So you always wanted to come and drive up or get your mom and dad to bring you up before I could drive and watch to make sure that the carnival was there. And then to come back and, you know, to see it be put together on Sunday. And I always had to go on Monday night. The very first night I had to go to the carnival. I went almost every night to the carnival. And then, of course, on Saturday, with us having a store like we did, the people that, a lot of our neighbors would take their horses. They would come by and stop at the store before they went up to Florala for the carnival to be in the parade. And that was the highlight, was the parade. And then we'd stay all day long, we'd watch the parade, go get something to eat, then go down to the lake, then go to the carnival, and then finish it up that night by spending the whole day in town and watch the fireworks.
Oh goodness, that is probably the biggest part of our lives growing up, because it happened every year on the 24th day of June. And later on, as years went by, they changed it to the weekend so people would be off from work and not have to close. But I worked at the sewing factory, and we would close the 24th day of June every year to celebrate that Masonic holiday.
This project was important to me because I interviewed my grandmother and was able to hear more about how her life was growing up and how different things are now compared to how they were back then.
I interviewed my Aunt Linda, and whenever she passes on, it'll be nice to, you know, look back and remember fond memories of her, and remember her life and what an inspiration she was.
But as I look back, I think, why in the world did I not sit there at the feet of her and her rocker and ask her to tell me about her life, what she went through, and how she became saved, and what things made her happy, and just hear her story. And I think, why didn't I do that instead of sitting there and trying to chit-chat or make happy conversations, you know, and not
listen.
Yeah, not want to just soak up her insides. She was so compassionate about mission. Oh my goodness, she was so compassionate about missions. And I'm kind of being pulled in that direction, but I'm not there yet. I don't feel like I'm there yet to feel her shoes there, but what a blessing she was in my life. She was such an inspiration.
If you would like her life story, Kendall did one of these for her on the video somewhere. I'll have to find it, but
oh, you're kidding.
I don't know if it's the same thing, but it has some stuff in it, so if you want to watch it.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, she was a sweet, sweet lady. Just loved Mom.